Okay, shalom, shalom, Kwam Yasha'Allah, Kuhuloyim La, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rahakodash. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. I just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yachan on the walk. I'm just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And I have been seeing this on TV over the weekend. They had the these robot Olympic games, so to speak, or Beijing games over in China. You know, with these robots running, like humans basically. And they got the technology down. The technology is there, and they could turn these things into whatever they want to turn them into. And ultimately, they're going to use them as weapons. Police officers, and they're going to make it try and seem like it's for good and all this other shit like that, because you think that, why aren't these motherfuckers jumping off of fire trucks and putting out some of these fires around the world? Why aren't they, doing things that could really, help humanity, so to speak? They're trying to make them, all human. And it's just, it's just Esau and, these other heathen with that left-hand sided tech, because they're not spiritual. You see, the Lord is going to eventually give us spiritual powers. But when I noticed that they said humanoid robot beats Usain Bolt's 100-meter record at Beijing Games. So why are they comparing their robots to a so-called black man? Because they understand that that's the standard to beat. They understand that, and it's always been that way. If you notice, they always, are trying to compare themselves to someone great when it comes to some, they can't measure greatness unless it's against so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, mainly, the so-called blacks. If they can do what we can do, then that's a great feat for them. But guess what? They're not doing it. You had to build a damn robot to do it. Why aren't you Moabites out there running like that? Because you rarely see, every now and then you might see a Moabite, a so-called Chinese. When we say Moabite, that's the biblical name for the so-called Chinese. You might see a Moabite every now and then in track and field. Every now and then. It's rare. It's not too often. And if you do see one in track and field, more than likely they're an Israelite, because your seed line goes through your dad. Whatever your dad is, that's exactly what you are. So this color thing, just because they have chinky eyes or they look the way that they look, all of them are not Moabites. Some of them are, Elamites, Ammonites, because all races, the men carry that seed. So whatever the men are, again, that's exactly what they are, according to Numbers chapter 1. Right? So it's not a look thing. So when you see somebody that looks like they're Asian, so to speak, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're Asian. They could be an Israelite. And you see a lot of those, because they, some of them people got swag. They got groove to them. They got some swag to them. You see like the Jabberwockies. I'm not sure exactly where they're from. I'm not sure if they're South Korean but they're still kind of like a different tribe, of that same family, so to speak. But why are they comparing their robot speed to Usain Bolt? Because Usain Bolt holds that record as a so-called black man. You rarely see them so-called white men in track and field like that. They be in there every now and then. You'll see one from another country. Generally, these countries know not to even send so-called white people, to those types of events. They let them go into, maybe swimming, diving, and even in those sports, Jake, if they get into them, Jake still take over. Our people are just the salt of the earth. It's just more proof that we're the salt of the earth. And also what I noticed was too, when I seen it on TV, because they had, this is, just the running part of it, like the little track and field part of it, so to speak. But they had them on stage and they were dancing. But guess what kind of dances the robots was doing? Motherfuckers was break dancing. And that's Jake. Motherfuckers on there doing the wave, you know what I'm saying? Doing just doing Jake dances. They had the robots programmed to do so-called nigger dances in China. Cause you know them a lot of those so-called Chinese too. They're big in what going on with this nigga? You all right, bro? They're real big in Jake. All these nations, man, they try their hardest to to be like Jake. They want to dress like us. They want to talk like us. They want to rap like us. They want to and not that those are. I hate to use those examples as because they call it black culture, which black culture ain't shit. All that shit is Jake need to stop doing. Start living righteously, man, and start showing these people who we really are, and let them worship us for our righteousness, man, not our wickedness, man, as a people. So fuck all that. But I'm just using that as an example, with the way that these nations they love Jake, man. And then I was just looking at something else too, with what's the guy name? Doc Rivers, coach. I'm not even sure who he's coaching for now. He used to play basketball, was pretty decent back in the days. But he was saying that these so-called white people, they want to have, it's almost like DEI. They have to have a couple of white players on the team because he said that the fans want to see somebody that looks like themselves, their own people, because they understand that Jake, and see they love when they have when you got somebody like Luke or what's the other guy, you got some pretty big so-called what they think are Edomites, but we believe that they're Israelites because they look like so-called white people, so so-called white people accept them. That's why they like Eminem so much, you know what I'm saying? Or they like, oh shit, he's a great rapper. Look, we got one too. We can rap too. That's the way that they are. When they get one of their people that can actually do something that Jake naturally does. See, Jake does things with natural talent. Jake don't be practicing. Jake hate going to a goddamn practice. But if Jake were to go to practice, you get the results of people like Michael Jordan. You get people like Kobe, with that. See, if Jake were to really focus and really just, it's a lot of players like Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was great, man, but that motherfucker wouldn't go to practice. You had people like Gary Payton. They were great, man, but they didn't go to practice. Just think had they went to practice, or they, enjoyed that part of basketball, not just showing up, nigga, I'm just gonna play. I'm me. But they had that natural talent, but still, when you go to practice, you're involving your team and not that individual shit. See? And that's the reason why a lot of them dudes didn't win no championships and didn't go nowhere with it, so to speak. But Jake got that natural talent, man, So I'm pretty much about at my destination. I just wanted to just chop it up real quick on this subject because I seen that shit yesterday, and I seen it. I think it was on Euro News. And Euro News, they kind of play shit on a rotation. It's kind of like a quick little segment, and then it rolls back around. It's only really like about 10 minutes, 15 minutes of news, and it's kind of like in a loop. And it kept playing, I'm just chilling, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing something else, and I kind of have the TV on mute anyway, so it's not like I'm listening to it. But I'm looking at the shit, and I'm like, well, damn, why the fuck you got the robots dancing like niggas in Beijing? That's exactly how the robots was dancing. The motherfuckers wasn't dancing doing no two-step honky tonk. They not trying to emulate Esau. And that's Esau as well. When you see the commercials, you see these dance commercials, you see these cheerleaders, you see these, you know what I'm saying? Anything that's got to do, you see even the commercials with the music. You got music. These commercials with the music. And they're straight so-called white commercials with so-called white products, but they gotta have that beat in the background. They gotta have that, and then they'll have Jake, doing some stupid shit. But they really can't sell nothing unless Jake is involved, because they understand that we're the salt of the earth. They use us just for that and that only, and then from there, they good with us, man. They toss your asses to the side, man. So they understand who's the chosen people of the Lord. They get it, man. It's just you niggas don't. You running around with your damn fist in the air talking about you proud to be black. You should be proud to be an Israelite, man. But that's that, destruction of Esau. Esau just, that's when you watch that movie Get Out, Esau only want, in that movie, He wanted to use your physical. And he wanted his mind to move your physical, so to speak. Oh, if I could just have a body like that with a brain that I have. No, you would just be a wicked ass motherfucker with more athleticism, basically. You wicked, man. You so-called white people, you're wicked as hell. You Moabites, you're wicked as hell. You eat any goddamn thing. You know, you're like, you talking about just goofy as hell. Goofy than a motherfucker. But these are the people that are in control of the earth and that are in control of, you know, the Lord's creation, man, right now. But the Lord said he's going to destroy those that destroy the earth. And these Moabites, they're going to be a part of it. You know, they're not going to be destroyed like how Esau is going to be destroyed. You're going to put their asses to work. So your robots, you're not going to have robots to do a goddamn thing. You're going to be physically running your ass out there to handle whatever we send your ass to go handle. You're going to be, you know, Moab is my wash pot. You're going to be washing, you know, you're going to be doing what you do great. Washing feet and shit, goddamn it. You're going to be giving manicures, pedicures to our people, man. You're going to do, you know, things like that. Things that you're good at. You know, you're not going to be running around eating goddamn octopus soup and live squid and shit still alive and you shoving it in your damn mouth. You're not going to be able to do that in our kingdom, man. So it is what it is on that, man. I'm pretty much at my destination. And hey, with that, you know, their measurement line is us, man. They have no choice because we're the greatest. The Lord created us to be the greatest, man. And even in our lower state, they still, you know, trying their hardest to outdo us, man, and they can't. You know, their women want us. You know, we just outdoing them on every level, man. They can't help but see us in that light, man. They see it, but they don't want to, you know, admit to it. They don't want to admit to us being Israelites, and a lot of them know. They don't want to admit to us being better than them. They don't want to admit that we're greater than them, man. We're above them, you know. So we're just under these curses right now. And once we come from under these curses, and even in these curses, look at how they still trying to emulate us under these curses. You got everything in the fucking world. Because them Chinese people over there, they're not doing bad. They, you know, hell, they doing a lot better than you, these fucking Edomites here in America. They're doing all right, you know, as far as worldly wise, carnal wise, they doing all right. You know, they got the so-called best technology. They got the, you know, got their robots and shit, being the doctors and shit, you know, their AI and all that, you know, knowing all about how to heal the body and do little, you know, little shit. You see? But man, hey, just hold on, Jake. We got next, man. We almost there. We almost there. It is what it is. You know, I couldn't bring out no scriptures because again I was driving, but you know, roughly paraphrasing the scriptures, man, we are the salt of the earth. We are the salt of the earth, man. We are that chosen people. We are matter of fact, let me pull up real quick. I'll just grab one, but I am on a little business call, so this guy walk up just in case. But anyway, let me grab this one script real quick. Let's get Deuteronomy 7:6 real fast. You out here comparing your fucking robot to Usain Bolt. Get the hell out of here. Show you how weak these motherfuckers is, man. Deuteronomy 7:6. It says, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord." When you see Lord in all caps like that, that's Yahweh, which means that he exists, or the existing one. True name of his son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus, is Yahweh, which means that he's the savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. And Israel is Yasharallah. He is princes of the power. See, we're princes of the power. He is prince of the power is what Yasharallah, or they say Israel, but in the Hebrew is Yasharallah. We are princes of the power. Let me start that back from the top again. Deuteronomy 7:6. "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God, Yahweh, hath chosen thee to be a special people." See? Unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And that hasn't changed, man. That hasn't changed. We're just in a lower state right now, you know, living off these curses and prophecy, basically, and prophetically. And we almost out of here, man. This shit is ending. I mean, we're about out of here, man. So I'm going to end out there with that. Shalom.